back to the Pleasure Priority Podcast. This week, I wanted to talk to you about something very near and dear to my heart, and that is rest. So many people think rest is optional or a luxury or something that you have to earn. And I'm here to say it, rewind it, listen to it as many times as you need to hear it, get a tattoo. Rest is not a luxury. It is a birthright. It is something that you need to function. It is not something that you have to earn. It is not something that you have to work for. It is not something that you are able to justify deserving or not. It just is. As a human, we need rest. And so many people have said this before, but I first heard it from Brick Johnson that we are human beings, not human doings. We do not have to get our worth. We do not have to get our value. We do not have to get anything from holding ourselves back from our own rest, essentially our own pleasure. All we have to do is decide to take it. All we have to do is to take it, and that's all you need to be able to rest. There is no hurdle to jump. There is no mountain to climb. There is no finish line to cross. You can rest, and you can rest now. And so many people kind of have this idea or this misconception that we have to earn our rest only because, well, not only because, but a lot because of capitalism. And living in this capitalistic society and always chasing the more, the better, the best, the promotion, the raise, the, whatever it is, the new house, the new car, the new vacation, the new clothes, the new purse, the whatever, like using materialistic things or using certain experiences as measures of success or measures of wealth or measures of worthiness. And we think that we have to always be in that mode. And if we're not, then we're not on the way to our goals, or we're not getting better, or we're not doing what we want to do, all because we're not constantly pursuing it, which ultimately creates this like a vacuum, if I could describe it any kind of way, like just constantly sucking you in. And as long as you're kind of in that thought pattern, in that belief, you will get sucked in to the habits, to the behavior, to the mindset of doing, earning rest, earning value, earning deservability, earning lovability, earning all this stuff when really you don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything to have it. You just have to exist, and you are naturally already inherently worthy, inherently valuable, inherently deserving of anything that you truly desire. It's yours, and it's allowed to be yours without you working for it. This has been a recurring theme for many of my clients, and one of them actually took the step of taking a sabbatical or a leave of absence from work just to have time to, have some time and really get out of the hustle mode and get back into herself and her body. She was not in the best of places. She was stressed. She was overworked. She was under supported, and she really, really believed that she had to keep going. Like she didn't have any options. She had to say yes to every assignment. She had to say yes to every idea. She had to be the one to not only create these ideas and bring them to fruition, but also push them across the finish line. She was taking responsibility for so much more than what she could possibly handle. And so much that was outside of herself, all because she believed that she needed to be that person in order to hold value at the company, or in order to keep growing. She had to just keep exponentially delivering more and more and more and more. And what that turned into was more time, more effort, more stress. When in reality, we don't have to do more to get what we want. And I know that could be kind of an oxymoron, but we don't. We just have to provide more value. And you can uplevel your value without increasing the time that you take to do things. Like, just for example, if we're using like a trade, say like a plumber, a brand new plumber can't charge, well, I mean, they can charge, but has a very different expected price than someone who's been a plumber for like 20 years. Because within that 20 years, they've had a lot of experiences, they've had a lot of trial and error, they learned a lot of things, and they can charge based on their knowledge, based on their time already invested. They can charge for the value that they bring, and maybe they do the same job as the person who just started, but they do it in a quicker amount of time, or they do it knowing that it's going to last like 10 years longer than the other way just because they have experience. That's what you're paying for, that extra value. And that's what you can provide, is that extra value. And it's not always done by time or experience, but like, how much are you infusing into the experience for your client, whoever that may be? And yes, even as a corporate employee or any employee, your boss or your corporation or your business is also your client, because you are providing a service. And even that reframe can help you think about it a little differently, that you're not like indebted or beholden to your company, your boss, your whatever. It's that this is a mutual decision, and you're deciding how to contribute to it and what to give. And you can make that decision very, very consciously. And without sharing too much of my client's story, I want her to be able to share that herself. However, I did want to share some of what she's learned so far from just taking this time off. And that's one, how to set boundaries, healthy boundaries with herself, with her team, with her boss, with her clients, and learning how to say no and letting that be okay, not letting it mean something bad about her, or that she's incapable or not doing something right. It just means like she really doesn't have the time. Bringing me to my next point is being honest about your time, about how much capacity that you actually have. Being honest about your calendar. Like, you may have some free space, but have you considered eating, going to the bathroom, spending time with yourself, spending time with your dog, walking your dog, just those things that we think like we never add to our to-do list, but they are things that we are doing, and they do take time. And when we don't consider them firsthand, or even things like, I just need some time to decompress, and I do like to sit on the couch and watch Netflix, and giving yourself to the time to do those things is not a mute point. It doesn't mean you're lazy because you're not constantly working. It's normal, it's human, it's natural to need a break, to allow things to integrate, to not constantly be growing. I don't know exactly who I heard this from, but I know I heard it from someone, that the only thing that's constantly growing is cancer. And cancer is a mutation of cells. It's like, it's an accident, it's a mistake, it's not supposed to happen. So there's nothing naturally in this world that just continues growing nonstop. Everything has a cycle. Everything has a phase. Everything has um, growth periods, integration periods, on all these different cycles that lead us to know that like nothing in nature is supposed to be constantly growing, constantly moving, constantly progressing. Yet we expect ourselves to be, which is, of course, not a helpful expectation. It really just sets us up for disappointment. It sets us up for failure. It sets us up for burnout, essentially. It sets us up to really expect that we have to, that if we're not constantly progressing, that if we're not constantly doing more, that if we're just being human on this journey, either with ourselves, together with someone else, or like whatever the case may be, that's not enough. And that thought itself, not being enough, is one that I do often see with my clients, but it's it's completely baseless because everyone based their enoughness in different things. And we only look at ourselves, well, not only, sometimes, oftentimes we do also judge other people based on how we judge ourselves. But when we look at ourselves, we are more critical. We scrutinize more. What's okay for other people may not be okay for us. And we use this as a measurement of enoughness, but there is no actual measure. Or if there is, it's like this unattainable perfectionist fantasy of, if I look like this, if I have this job, if I have these type of friends, if I'm in a relationship, if I have these clothes, if all these things go exactly the way I think I need them to go, only then will I allow myself joy or happiness or to consider myself enough. But that list that we provide, that we create, it's so much of it is irrelevant and out of our control. Like, we're all not meant to have the same body. We're all not meant to have the same job. We're all not meant to show up in the ways that society deems the most quote unquote appropriate. That's not everybody's lane. And when we measure ourselves to those, or we try to measure ourselves to those standards, it doesn't work. And that's why we end up anxious or sad or frustrated or depressed or angry and hopeless and helpless and all these different emotions that we don't really want to have, all because we are basing our worth in productivity, which is another reason why rest is so important, because it allows us to see things differently. It allows us to take a step out of the matrix and see what's actually going on. And when you actually give yourself ample rest, you're able to see clear. You're able to connect with yourself more. You're able to hear your intuition and listen to it more. You're able to discern between things you do and don't want to do. Granted, socialization does come back into play, and like, no, well, you should do this. No, well, you should force yourself to finish working instead of take that nap. Like, you should force yourself to sit through this meeting instead of going to the bathroom, like, you know, you really have to, and just like getting overridden by those messages because we think that our rest isn't ours. We think it's something that we have to earn, which we don't, which is why I always impress upon my clients: take a fucking break. Take a nap. Take a vacation. Take a leave of absence. Infuse this time into your daily schedule. Yes, you need ample rest daily. Don't just do enough to get by or enough to make it through the next day, because that builds up. It wears on you. You want to give yourself the ability to have a chance. to be who you want to be. And that requires you to take breaks. It requires you to rest. It requires you to slow down. And especially in the Black community, we fear how people will perceive us if we do take breaks, if we're not always working, if we're not always hustling. It's a little bit of a mind fuck where this idea comes from, and why it resonates so deeply with so many of us, is because for so long we were doing all the work. We didn't have the opportunity to take breaks. We didn't have the opportunity or the luxury to say no. We didn't have the opportunity to have sick days or vacation days or any semblance of humanity. We were just forced to work, always work, and still take pride in that work and still do the best job you can do. And it's a thankless job. Don't expect anything in return. Those ideas, they stick, they permeate, they grow, even though we're not necessarily in the same situation. What led us here were those decisions that allowed us to survive in that situation. So naturally, our brain is just going to default to the same ideas because it thinks that's what we need to survive. That's how we make it. And so when slavery ended, at least in Western society, when the white supremacist culture decided to still criminalize Black people for being Black and not working as slaves and not doing their bidding, um, the general kind of idea came about that Black people are lazy. Literally built the foundation, the riches for an entire country that is still one of the richest today. Literally got us to first world status. However, they still call us lazy. All because it's a way to judge us, shame us, put us in this place where we believe that we have to work more. We have to convince them that we are more than they think that we are. That we have to work twice as hard just to get half as much, that we should even expect half as much as viable compensation when we see others getting double for less. This is designed. And when you look at it and you see, like, so what if somebody thinks I'm lazy? Like, really ask yourself that. If I gave everything I got, or even if I didn't, and somebody still chooses to call me lazy, that's their choice. That's their perception. That's their prerogative, and they can have it. I don't need to change their mind. I don't need to prove to them that I'm doing something in order to be able to take my rest. It just becomes this never-ending cycle. Like, I have to prove to everyone that I'm doing enough, but really all you have to do is, I don't even really want to say like prove it to yourself, but yeah, like prove it to yourself. As long as you believe that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks. Like, sure, go ahead. You can think I'm lazy. Awesome. Like, I still get things done on my time. I still am a viable member of the team. I still allow myself my humanity and am able to exist in this capitalistic world. Like, you can have it all. You can have both. You can have more than one. It's like, it's possible for you. It's just honestly making the decision that your rest is more than an afterthought, that it's something that you really do wholeheartedly deserve and can get and can access and can love. What I want you to do is really prioritize your rest over this next week, whatever that looks like. And if you're like, oh God, no, I'm so busy, like I don't have the time, Nope, this is exactly when you need to do it. Because when you actually practice creating the time, creating the space in your schedule for rest, no matter what else is going on, you convince yourself, you show yourself, you show your brain that this is something that's okay to do. You make it safe for your body, you make it safe for your brain, you give yourself an opportunity to actually take the rest and do it when you need it, not just when you think you deserve it. So the ones that are like, oh no, God, I'm too busy. Yeah, this is exactly when you need to do it this week. Clear some space in your schedule, or actually create your schedule around the time that you need to rest. Like, really factor in that time that takes to use the bathroom, to eat, to cook, to sit, to watch TV, to catch up with friends or family, to scroll on social media. Like, all the things that you do that you essentially judge yourself for like taking time away from you doing other things, add them to your calendar. Give yourself the space of how much time that you actually want to spend doing those things. And then practice doing them without the judgment, without the shame, without the, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Well, if I take this nap, then I'll never be able to publish the book that I want to. Yes, you can. You'll probably publish the book quicker and be more in integrity with what you write when you do allow yourself to take rest. So that's my homework for you this week. Everybody, go get some rest. You deserve it. And I'd love to hear about how this process goes for you. What comes up for you when you hear me say take some rest. You deserve it. You don't have to earn it, and you're going to do it. What does that bring up for you? Question it, get curious about it. Why is it so hard for you personally to take rest? Really ask yourself. And then ask yourself things like, what am I scared of if I do rest? And then ask yourself, how can I soothe my fears? How can I ensure my goals even while taking rest? And what's the problem if it takes longer for me to get where I want to go than how long I think it should take? And yes, kind of on that last question, I want you to go back to last week's episode and just that part where I remind you that you don't know shit. So you saying that it should take a certain amount of time or you should be somewhere different than you are now, you don't know. You really don't. So again, like denying yourself rest because you're not where you think you should be is really just creating more suffering for yourself because you're deciding that you deserve to be punished for not, hitting the arbitrary goal that you set for yourself. Whereas you could just be on a journey instead of a race. My friends, I want you to rest. I want you to know that you don't have to earn it. Rest is your right. Pleasure is your right. Your wants, your desires, all of it, they are your birthright. Stop restricting yourself in the name of capitalism, in the name of modern day slavery, in the name of internalized oppression. Like, that's really the only reason that we deny ourselves rest. And once we see that, we can change it. And that's my dream for you, is really to take rest. And if you want daily reminders, or maybe not daily anymore, but there is an account called the Nap Ministry that I want to highlight that expresses the importance of rest, the importance of taking time back, reclaiming that time for yourselves and for the culture, and how rest specifically impacts the Black community and other communities of color, what you can do actively to, decolonize yourself from these ideas, to unlearn that rest is earned and not a right when it actually is. Again, that's the NAP ministry. And they are worth a follow and a read, and love, love, love their work. So, again, take some rest, build some rest into your calendar. And while you're at it, throw some pleasure in there too. Really decide that this is for you and you deserve it. And with that, I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.